It's still early. Where to now?
It's you, Cass. I finished the anthology of poems you lent me. Here it is.
I thought you'd be too preoccupied to find time for reading.
Precisely because of these obligations, I felt compelled to read it swiftly.
Wouldn't all these preoccupations slow your pace?
On the contrary. Knowing that time is limited can push one to overcome their limitations. The weight of these responsibilities seems to have enhanced my reading efficiency.
I understand completely. During my time at the Grove, the closer exams drew, the more efficient I became at tackling everyday mundane tasks.
And precisely. As I remember, you and Finon were both disciples of the new Sporists. I assume that Anaxa's exams were as unreasonable as the man himself, correct?
The courses Professor Anaxa taught were Introduction to Alchemy and History of Mythology.
The History of Mythology, taught by the blasphemous great performer himself.
Now that I think about it, students would often rush to the podium during class to challenge him on those blasphemous ideas. May I ask, Lady Aglaya, has your...
He openly dismisses people's faith and questions the very justification of the Flame Chase journey. Our positions have been destined to be at odds. While you were studying there, I assume you must have heard of his nickname.
A Dromus draped in finery?
As I see it, this nickname is more of an insult to the drone. Despite his insufferable arrogance, I do hold a certain respect for his nature as a scholar. To remain true to his principles, he is unafraid to stand opposed to the world. And Anaxagoras' life is almost like a satire. As a Chrysos heir, he refuses to heed the prophecy.
Well, the gods have chosen him.
He was indeed chosen by Circes. Is something weighing on you, Cass? The golden thread is quivering. I sense there's more to this exchange than idle chatter.
With all due respect,
in light of his assistance in the battle against the Flame Reaver, I am willing to grant him some time to find a way to remove the core flame. However, If Anaxa decides to make any move that places us in danger, I will not hesitate to take extreme.
Just as I feared.
The Flame Chase journey is the destined path for the Chrysos heirs. Yet he now seems more like an empty shell. Given his strong sense of self-respect, I trust that Anaxagoras will make...
Still, I can't help but hope for another possibility. Perhaps Anaxa will also overcome his limitations, now that he knows time is limited.
I understand your stance. Let's continue now. Let's greet our guest. You're here. Does this mean you're ready to take on Orynyx's trap? It seems that this sacred beast is just as... Surrendering the core flame is a Chrysos heir's duty. Your selfless assistance is deeply appreciated. However, I urge you to carefully consider the risks of accepting the trial. Becoming a demigod means forsaking your humanity. You will inherit Orynyx's divinity. From that point onward, your fate will be forever intertwined with ours, never to be separated again. It's exceedingly rare to find a capable Chrysos heir. If this path proves unattainable, I am willing to let... There are still many priests of Yanisopolis and their descendants in the city. If I'm left with no other option, It looks like you know that Titan rather. Memories that exist outside of your own.
I can't explain why, but I can vouch for Mem's words. When I was in the abyss, I heard the Titan's groans.
Since you've made your decision, go back to the bath chamber and get some rest. Trinan will call for you when this... It is difficult for me, as the guide, to absolve myself from blame for things to have progressed to this point. Time, when the dust settles, I hope that we'll have the chance to have a long chat regarding your return journey and the curse of the sky. It's about time that we lift the taboo.
Mister, may everything go well for you and... It's nothing. Previously, I lent her an anthology of poems that Lady Trianne had gifted to me. Tracing back, this anthology was something left for Lady Trianne by a bard, although personal properties should be cleared out once their owner has passed on. Lady Trianne gave this book to me since she knew how much I liked her. It just contains an allegory. In a faraway land, in a city known as Styxia, a dragon corrupted by the black tide descended one day, swooping upon it swallowed the princess of the city whole before it was suppressed. After taking down the evil dragon, the warriors discovered that the princess's life had already overwhelmed by grief. The queen hired an alchemist to resurrect the princess using the dragon's flesh and blood. However, having lost memories of her previous life, the resurrected princess turned into an evil dragon herself and wreaked havoc. The author of this book is Archepia, a wandering bard who traveled to many cities. Among the things she left behind are poems, dictionaries, and many tragicomedy scripts. She even clearly underlined and took notes in books that covered myths with her elegant hand. While flipping through these books, I felt like I was afforded a glimpse into the life of Archepia. It felt just like I was traveling with someone that I'd never. It was as if she had yet to pass on and was still. That's right. Writing, drawing, and taking photographs. It seems like human nature to. Speaking of taking photographs, when I was helping you to take the photo previously, I did not look through the photos in your photo stone out of courtesy. Despite having visited many cities in Amphorius, I still understand nothing about the world beyond the sky. Forget it. Let's talk about this in the future. For now, I only hope that you'll be able to complete the trial scene.
That's right. Oh, partner, you're back just in time. This is something that the both of you should probably... Good news? I wouldn't... Some background information for you. The Council of Elders is an authoritative body in Amphorius, made up of different city representatives. They hold legislative power over the Holy City, and are in charge of presiding over the city. This is the most important social event of Akima. It is highly influential. Despite her vision and wisdom that spans across thousands of years, every 5 to 10 years, the Council of Elders organizes a citizens' assembly at Dawncloud. During the assembly, the representatives will vote on major issues such as whether the Chrysos heirs led by Aglaya should still hold the right to govern the Holy City, and whether the Titans... That is correct. However, the problem lies in the fact that there are ill-intentioned extremists in the Council of Elders. They view the Citizens' Assembly as a way to restrain the Chrysos heirs, and hope to take... We can refer to them as the opposition. During the assemblies held in the past 100 years, the voices supporting the opposition have been growing stronger in the shadows. It's only thanks to... The Citizens' Assembly is just around the corner. But this time, there seems to be a new variable to the situation. I'm afraid that the Council of Elders might want to take advantage of... Aglaya will surely take back Circe's core flame, but with Anaxa's current condition... He has always been someone that is only concerned about his own research. I'm certain that he must want to escape from the monitoring of the Golden Thread and protect himself. Anaxa has never believed in the prophecy, so technically it cannot be considered a betrayal. However, he has taught many Chrysos heirs, and has long been considered an important ally of Ak. As I believe in his character, I plan to plead with Aglaya and try to buy more time for him. Then, the greatest way in which you can help is for... Allow me to apologize for the fact that we always seem to be troubling you. I hope that Orynyx will show more benevolence and be more accommodating. I remember that they seemed quite fond of you back in the Abyss. Go and rest and regain your strength. We'll meet at the Vortex in a few days. Oh, right. You can read this scroll if you want to find out more about the Council of Elders and...
Esteemed one, Orynyx's vacant totem awaits. If you have already made your preparations to become a pillar of Amphorius, please, step forward.
Little Grey and Mem, your resolves cannot be questioned. We praise your pure selflessness and courage. May carefully light your path forward. Get ready to assume Orynyx's divinity, Trailblazer. The divine position of Orynyx has already been vacant for some time. We can feel the space of the trial closing. As there isn't much of their soul left, we'll have to complete the ceremony before their soul completely dissipates. The eighth core flame coveted by the miracle that once belonged to it shall now be returned by the two elected heroes of the Chrysos heirs. A traveler who is upright and courageous. Both of you, please, come forward. Recite along with us. O Majesty of the 12 Titans, pillars of the world, we seek your divinity to mend the rifts of the world. Fill our bodies with blood of gold till we wither in willing service. These are just words meant to make the prayer seem more solemn. Please. And surrender.
quietly waiting for the arrival of their successor. The last time I heard this, things...
Don't worry, Aglaya. He's tougher than I am, right?
Traveler from beyond the sky, let us pray that the Titan...
Although he loves cracking jokes at inopportune times, his determination is as strong as the Chrysos heirs. He will definitely... While he's away, I would like to have a chat with you, Aglaya.
Speak. I will listen.
Slap, slap! Wake up! How is it? How do you feel? That's right! Look! I don't know what happened, but I'm able to talk! I have such a cute voice! It must be because of all the memories that I collected. Also, listen.
It hurts. Have I finally reached the end?
Or next. Oh, how heartbreaking. Ever since the figure draped in the black cloak robbed them of their... We are going to help alleviate their pain.
Memories. Broken. Mother. Where? It's you. Skyfather, as Mother is calling for you. Mother is no longer. Something important
Oryx, listen to me. Aren't you tired? Throughout the long years, you have always been protecting the fate of Amphorius. Each time people draw strength from within their memories, there's no need for you to bear this any longer, Oryx. From today onwards, someone else will bear time on your behalf. This is why...
Freedom. I want freedom.
Oh, poor child. Everything will be fine. Let us help you. You can have a good rest.
Willpower. Powerful. But just
lacking something.
Is a future.
Future?
Traveler from the sky. moment you cross the sky, right now, you are simply a collection of walking memories.
What? How is that possible? I heard you two talking about Thanatos. Cass is also... She has left the vortex and returned to the garden. Shall we go and look for her? Thanatos is the titan that Oh, right. There's something that I have to tell you. The Chrysosaurs already know everything that has happened to you. I was too worried, so...
Mister, I'm right here. Please stay there and slowly turn. just as I expected. Back at the Grove, I was puzzled as to why you were not affected by my curse. I thought that it might have been the special ability of a traveler from beyond the sky. I'm sorry. I should have noticed that something... Mister, if my abrupt behavior just now offended you, I hope that I'm just thinking. If your soul has really left your body, as a mortician, I might be able to...
Cass! Did you find anything?
My apologies. Not as of yet. But, mister, would you be willing to let me try again? This time, I'll increase the area... I have never touched the living in this way before. If my action... I seem to have caught a glimpse of something. Your soul is... but perhaps it might not be a bad thing. If your soul is still wandering around, it means that clues. Just a few... the connection has been severed. With my string, it was me. I was a little too hasty. Don't worry, mister. Although we currently have no leads, I will do my best to search for the whereabouts of Thanatos. I know that I'm lacking in confidence, but I hope that you can keep this promise of mine in mind. Amphorius needs you. Lady Aglaia and Lord Finon are currently discussing some matters in the paths. They're worried about you too. If possible, please go there and let them know that you're well. Also, please accept this Styxian fable. Reading can help one to focus and relax. I hope that reading this can help tide...
More species are disappearing. They're here.
That partner! Hyacinth said you definitely wake up.
You've completed the trial of time, and I have to admit that the process went better than I expected. Even in the end, that Titan's heart. However, I never expected that. Two people who have cheated death would appear in...
That's what we have been talking about. Mighty has been in Akima for such a long time, but has no one thought to study his indestructible body? If there were even any...
Many have had this idea, but so far, there have been no results. If it were successful, nevertheless, now is not the time for us to give up. At the very least, Cypher. If anyone in this... I'll try and get her to return to Akima, but do be prepared for a less than ideal outcome. Please understand that throughout the history of Amphorius, no one has ever managed to escape the clutch. It is my duty. We too require you to bear the divine. But before that...
What's wrong, Aglaia?
Omens always come in pairs. A tiny air current will eventually... It's Anaxagoras. He has a mission...
In the end, it is...
I earnestly hope that your assessment of him is accurate. Otherwise, the efforts of my teacher and I of the past millennium might be reduced to...
I'm back here again. I remember this dream. This realm is covered in a silk-like fog, and the land is barren and harsh.
Hey! Excuse me! What is this?
The mutters of the traveler are in a language I'm unable to comprehend. Or perhaps they're just...
Tell me, which Titan reigns over this land?
Hand of Shadow Thanatos. Could this...
Not.
Then where is this? River of Souls? The outskirts of the Netherrealm? Are you heading downstream?
The Netherrealm. Titan. Rejects. Listen.
What? The traveler lifts their wrinkled fingers and they look in the direction they are pointing and listen closely. The sound of tides. I can hear it. I hear it. Deep within the tides. Beyond the closed gate, a voice. About to recount.
Child of humanity, is it death's embrace you yearn for with such... Oh, you have awoken. Welcome. Your consciousness is dissipating much faster than I expected. Ultimately, it seems like the Titan's core flame...
How much longer can my consciousness remain in the mortal?
In my estimation, at best, you'll see 15...
15 days.
What is it? Are you finally starting to become attached to them?
On the contrary, 15 days feels a Stop giggling. It's time for us to go. The mess...
Let me ask you one more question. Are you...
What betrayal is there to speak of when I was never loyal to her to begin with?
What about that white-haired student of yours? Acting so recklessly.
There will be a price to pay for blind faith. This is also a lesson.
You truly are a strict teacher.
Of course. This is how I've always been.
Sorry to keep you waiting. It's been a while, Lord Anaxa. I greet you on behalf of all the citizens of Akima.
It's you. I never expected that you would personally come.
By carefully into Lantern above, I have come as a test.
There are Antikytherans here? They have been a rare sight ever since the Chrysos War.
I am Lycurgus, though you may call me Lygus, holding an honorary position within the Council of Elders in Akima, and as...
You can see them too?
You know about us. We Antikytherans perceive the world just as I am conscious that Lady Aglaya is secretly listening in on our private...
The demigod should know better, for such is her station. Spare those poor threats, and just let her listen.
May I interpret this as you...
I need not any plan, because she can do nothing other than petty espionage. As the Citizens' Assembly approaches, and with Orynyx's fall, while I, Anaxagoras, serving as the Grove's special envoy to Akima's Citizens' Assembly, let's forego the formality of asserting authority, Lord Lygus.
Very well. Sure. She's been waiting for me, please. Is there something on your mind?
Nothing, really. It's just a question that I contemplate every time before I ascend to Dawn.
A pondering truly deep. Time...
While all living beings must ultimately face their demise.
Are you suggesting that Kefali may not have truly passed?
Yes. For dying implies an ongoing process, an action. In contrast to mortals, Titans exist on a grander scale of space and time, thus elongating their passage into death.
An intriguing concept, albeit challenging to substantiate. After all, Kefali has maintained a...
Perhaps the gods in their arrogance deemed it beneath them to reveal their perspectives to mortals.
Could you elaborate?
Circes, the kin of the Sky Father as recounted in myths,
now resides within my brain. Or
That very well could be true.
in that case, the myths crafted by the people.
It's worth a try. I believe, because I completely concur with you on this aspect. If the Titan Please, Professor.
The children of humanity have
Welcome to Dawn Cloud. The atmosphere here carries a greater sense of solemnity than the mundane only esteemed beings grace this place. And among them, I've received praise.
Once deemed a blasphemer, now a surrogate for revered divinity.
I'll notify Kindness and the others of your arrival. Kindly, in the meanwhile, you're welcome to explore the vicinity, but kindly...
I'm well aware of Kindness's methods. There's no need...
As you wish.
Alas, I had hoped for a brilliant plan from you, but it turns out you just left one case.
Save your concerns. I know very well what
I shall depart. Now that I look around, I wonder if there are any murals bearing my portrait around here.
Off you go. I won't. This Titan appears to be quite at ease.
Be aware, I can hear you perfectly.
Professor Anaxa? Word has it that the scholars of the Grove valiantly perished resisting the Black Tide.
You could say it's the fates toying with us.
It's only the Crimnoans and Idonians who chase glory through death. So, are you here to report the incident to the Council? I heard that after the Black Tide devoured the Grove,
Tell me, how much does the Council of Elders know of...
Once Kindness and her followers learned of Circe's and Orynyx's fall, they proclaimed in the council that the Flame Chasers could know. Yet, when the Crown Prince ascended to godhood and repelled the Black Tide, she immediately altered her tune, declaring that all was resolved beyond Akama, with the only remaining menace now being Aglaya and her adherents. They might well make their move at the upcoming...
No surprises there, those shifty opportunists.
Being an opportunist could very...
Shouldn't you be searching for murals of yourself? I've had enough...
I was really curious to see how you would find the middle ground between both, but it seems as though this Kindness is much more ruthless than Aglaya. If so, why do you want to work with her? Could it be that perhaps you've decided to readily...
I'm afraid you'll be sorely disappointed.
Even blasphemous. Anaxagoras. I thought that you had died to the Black Tide.
As Kephale's priest, are you not aware of the decorum of respecting...
Surely you jest. You blasphemous heretic, let me remind you that you're currently in Dawn Cloud, so you'd better keep your deranged language to yourself. I am no longer that altar servant from—
I'm not sure whether I should laugh or cry right now. I can't believe that a follower such as I see it, a dead Titan, can't provide you with this level of confidence, right? Then who is it?
You. Seeing how fond of you Elder Kindness is, I shall let that slide for now.
Seeing as we were able to hear of this matter from the mouths of others, it seems that Kindness is in—
Oh my, what a thrilling confrontation.
Are you praising or insulting?
Praising him, of course, as a believer of the God of Deliverance.
Didn't you hear me? I asked you to leave. Go as far away from here as possible. Don't mutter to yourself like—
I've had enough of this. Could the 15th entry hour arrive any faster?
Oh, my.
Every plant, every tendril, no, even every leaf could be the embodiment of—
As a result, mere mortals who did not know what the Titan actually looked like chose to paint them as a giant tree instead. Their wisdom was portrayed as fruit to
This mural is quite absurd.
I really can't tell whether you're praising or demeaning yourself. Now I'm quite curious whether the reason Titan—
Of course I find such stylistic For all we know, this could be the answer to the question what exactly—
I, for one, am not willing to admit that I—
Was this the reason why you failed in your attempt to refine my soul when you were
Since you are aware of this, why—
From my perspective, this point alone was enough to separate you from the average
How do two lunatics co—
Therefore, it seems that your journey to Dawn Cloud this time— What, then, is the intention behind your action?
The entire plan is stored in my memory. So why don't you look there?
Then don't mind if I— 1-year-old? Oh my! Even a member of the preeminent 7 sages must hug—
That's enough.
How unusual. Your soul is actually trembling.
Since our days are both numbered, I don't mind telling you more about it. This is a present that my sister gave to me. It's a doll that was made to look like our family pet.
So there are other members in your family, eh? Are they also—
Don't you just love to pick through my brain? Go on, continue flipping, it won't take long. You'll discover the answer when you reach the memories of when I was
Oh, the black tide is everywhere.
When I was young, I couldn't accept this outcome either. Georios, Aquila, Kefali, and you, of course. Although
This—
Indeed it was. Everything started from that verdant courtyard of yours. When I was pursuing—
Oh, I remember that person.
Not only that, he also believed that life, as well as the composite, since all living things stemmed from the same origin. Why could—
Anaxa! I did it, but this is absolute blasphemy. Regardless of how much freedom the Grove provides, such an act could cause you to be burned at the pyre. Your beloved, where is she now? Send her away from the Grove at once, to a place where nobody—
Calm down, teacher. She's still not in the mortal realm. Even to this—
What do you mean?
It was naive of me to think that I could snatch the deceased from Thanatos' grip. Equivalent exchange. All I received for that price was but an opportunity.
Oh, let it go, Anaxa. As one of my best students, I cannot watch you never do something taboo ever again. Don't disappoint the deceased and never harm—
Since I was able to see her once— You're right, teacher. It's time for me.
I am sincerely glad for you, child.
I wish to continue the—
Continue the research into souls, but You know that the Grove has long since...
No, teacher. After my fleeting glimpse of the deathly fog, I finally understood a single truth. Since ancient, I may have lost an eye, but my view of the world...
Who would have thought such a secret lay concealed beneath that hefty... However, this story doesn't seem to be connected to your plan. In fact, I'd say...
The answer lies within the tale. If even you cannot understand it, perhaps you should relinquish the divinity of reason to me. After all, my story ends here. Now it's time for you to tell me your secret. After all...
As expected, you laid a trap, unfortunately. Even if I was willing to talk about my past.
Oh? Are you saying that the renowned Reason Titan is now admitting...
Child of humanity, remember this. Being cognizant of one's...
Now I understand. No wonder you asked me to answer your random...
Not only that, you're the only one who can shed light on my query. As the saying goes, onlooker...
Is that so?
Lord Anaxa. I saw you muttering to yourself and was wondering whether you were caught in a delirium. I have a message from Lord Lygus. Lady Kindness has met up with the Council of Elders and is awaiting your arrival.
It's...
Carefully. The one who created the world. If you truly have not met your end, how?
I didn't expect you to agree to Lady Kindness's invitation. What a wonderful turn of events. To tell you the truth, there are many people who hold grudges against that Lady Goldweaver.
All things are connected by origin, and are made of the same essence.
Isn't that the dromas draped in finery?
Avoid his gaze. I don't acquaint myself with blasphemers.
Don't worry. He's too full of pride to pay us any attention.
A student of Empedocles? I hear that his views run counter to the Federationists.
This is what being a scholar is about. A collision of ideas only occurs when there are differences in beliefs, and it is such collisions that lead to progress.
Yet,
Lord Lygus and Lady Kindness are just ahead. I'll take my leave for now.
Welcome to the demigod.
Lord Anaxagoras, I've heard so much ahead of the Nusporists of the Grove of Epiphany, notorious blasphemer, a Christ. Did I miss anything? Well, if so...
Since Lady Kindness is already well acquainted with me, I won't waste any... But then again, perhaps the customs are different here. Back in my hometown, there is a form of etiquette known as honoring guests. The host will welcome their guest, and yet, ever since I arrived, I have not been welcomed with warm courtesy or ceremonial gifts. Instead, I met with intense scrutiny, Even more absurd. Perhaps you intend to cut open my heart, retrieve the core flame, and then hold a grand feast for all.
Everyone, stand down.
Thank you for understanding. I am but a feeble scholar who is not used to the stench of...
No need to be humble, my lord. From my perspective, your courage and gumption are worthy of the reputation of the Seven Sages.
So, you wish...
Well, since the Chrysos heirs are calling for war, we will respond in kind. Conflict is inevitable, since Aglaya endeavors to suppress the... As to your question of whether peace is still a viable option, well, to that I can only say this. Everything hinges on the next citizens' assembly, and since you, as a Chrysos heir, accepted our invitation, you have indeed given us a...
What brazen arrogance. What you're saying right now is worlds apart from what you were saying.
I don't deny it. After all, they're responsible for cleaning up any threats, and just a moment ago you were on the side. But now that you're an ally of ours, we can continue talking somewhere else. As you know, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to discuss a treatise about the Venerationists with your teacher, Empedocles. Yet, it seems you subscribe to the Nusporists instead, Lord Anaxa. I've heard that this school of thought is one with many detractors.
It's normal for
Welcome back to the hub of the Demigod Council, Lord Anaxagoras. Surely you remember that countless eloquent orators have stood in this spot before and emerged victorious by stoking public sentiment with their words. At this tiny stage is the most profound embodiment of Akama in centuries. And may the both of us carry out our duties with honor and lead the masses...
Oh my, 15 days and nights. That aligns perfectly with the date of...
Using death to prove myself fits my intentions perfectly.
What strong conviction you have. As expected of the hero who dared to stand up.
As expected.
That's enough, Lady Kindness. Dispense with the niceties. I only accepted your invitation so that I can serve the commoners along...
Well, you say that now, but surely you also require my aid as well. So that...
You worry too much. She won't show her hand too freely, as she still needs to garner support from the masses at the citizen.
Even someone like me can tell that only a sliver of her humanity remains. Surely you're not asserting that she will...
As you're no doubt aware, Aglaya covets the core flame that I possess, which makes it the bargaining chip that allows me and the rest of you to negotiate with her. However, in return, I'll need the... You're well aware how valuable Circe's core flame will be in the era Christ. Talk is cheap, so you'd better act prudently as well.
I understand. After all, this battle of wits is just a means for each party to acquire what they need. As long as your request is reasonable, the Council of Elders, let us decide how much we can secure for ourselves and how much we're willing to sacrifice, like true philosophers. Continuing from the earlier topic, let us discuss our common enemy. She is the second most experienced Chrysos heir across the whole of Akama, who has gradually lost her humanity to the ravages of time and the... Admittedly, there is ample reason for her to take your life. Yet your previous reasoning is quite sound. As a seasoned political animal, it's unclear whether she will actually cross that irreversible boundary. Moreover, she still needs you alive so that the Titan's trial can... Is there anyone present who can swear by the sacred vow of Kefali and guarantee that you weren't in league with that woman before coming here?
I believe you're aware of Castorice the Executioner. Long before I returned to Akama, Aglaya had already dispatched her to monitor me. If I weren't able to reach as compared to a comprehensive plan with uncertain results, if you decide to cut open my chest and remove the core flame, wouldn't that settle her nerves even more?
I understand at the very least the both of us agree that this tyrant who wallows in extravagance and greed is the great... However, I regret to say that sentiments in favor of the Chrysos heirs and Aglaya are only growing in magnitude. Tell me, what are you willing to do for our esteemed...
Although the circumstances are rather unfortunate from an objective point of view, it is an undeniable fact that ever since the Council of Elders needs more backing if it wishes to topple Aglaya, at the very least, I have served as the Grove's special envoy to Akama for a significant amount of time. Of course,
in the name of Kefali, Akama thanks you for your sincere and... At this stage, it's clear that you and I understand the benefits to be won from this discussion. Let me put it plain. The Council of Elders has vowed to all citizens of Akaba that it will always remain loyal to them. As for you, my lord, how will you guarantee that you will be able to live up to such earnestness and will not betray Akama's indomitable citizens when the opportunity presents itself?
Surely you jest. My loyalty does not need to be proven.
I am incredibly honored to have witnessed the both of you bury the hatchet in a civilized manner. As the Theoros, I have observed the following. Lady Aglaya the Gold.
Oh. Well, I do believe that we might have a slight...
Feeling dissatisfied, Lady Kindness? Despite the Council of Elders' lofty residence on Dawncloud, it must...
So you were holding back just now. Seems like you are better at playing this game than I. In any case, so tell me, Anaxagoras, now that you're an ally of mine, if Aglaya were to...
You can do as she says. Tell her that the Council of Elders merely wished to chat with me and had no intention of offending her. However, by doing so, the authority of the Council of Elders will be as thin as papyrus that has been soaked in blood. Not only can it be destroyed at the slightest touch, but the Council will also lose possession of a No, more like 2 core flames. At the next Citizens' Assembly, that young lady who is synonymous with death.
Oh? How can you be sure of that?
Is that of importance to you? All you need to know is that I have a plan. If Aglaya can seize me in full view of the masses today, she could also dismiss the entire Council of Elders. Is this the outcome that you wish to see?
Fine. I will handle this matter appropriately. But you do best to remember this. Fool the people and karma will be on your tail. I'll overlook it this time, but don't count on there being... Unless, of course, you crave cruel punishment and consider suffering the perfect state to ponder the true nature of souls.
Well, what do you know?
I've got to say that you've managed to really impress me again. But shouldn't you be going after...
Dying to know what I'm after.
I mean, I'm the reason Titan after all. It is in me to ask and...
Easy there. You'll learn the answer soon enough. I didn't bring it up with her purely because she doesn't have the means to give me what I truly want. The true masters of Dawncloud have always been the Theoros.
An expected visitor. You know, you could actually skip all the pointless debate, and I have no reason to refuse.
You may not, but Kindness has. Whoever gets hold of Kefali's core flame will get to rule over... She's wary of me, so naturally I had to gain her trust. I would say...
In my view, this individual has gone to great lengths to get close to Kefali. Are you still willing to let him pass, knowing this?
Yes, very much so. All living creations are always free to visit.
How convenient it is to be able to...
It is truly my honor to speak to the... Please, go ahead. A bygone myth tells of an occasion where carefully Watts answered their followers' questions on the peak of the holy mountain. Their followers have since believed that scaling this titan cliff is one way of being with the god.
Hear that? It's not every day that you get to climb a mountain with Circes. You should sing me a hymn of praise.
Titan hymns are beyond me.
Go on ahead. Take this Iannis shortcut.
I have to admit, I never expected you to know.
Because I know very well what it is you are after. As the saying goes, a gentleman, I believe carefully, will not deprive you of your right to ask your question, especially now that you're on the brink of death. You must be closer to carefully.
I hope things go as you say.
Putting a child, it is my hope that you bring a much-needed change to...
I suppose I can just ignore this. This is my first time going up to Dawncloud's peak.
What a splendid view. Isn't it about time you recognize the...
Well, I don't see how this place is different. And even though I've come this far, I'm still doubtful about...
I must be getting ahead of myself to be...
Oh? Haven't you been in my head for some time now? It's high time. All right. We're just a short hike away from Kefli.
So the intellectual debate from earlier was too draining for you, huh? If Amphorius gets a new lease on life, you should focus on strengthening your...
Save your concern.
The Titan is in sight. Can you...
Why? Are you... I know how far I can...
Fine then. I guess I won't say any more. I'll just wait till your soul dissipates
Wait. Is... Hey...
Huh? What?
Do we even get to see souls?
Oh? Why didn't you bring your favorite spear with you on this trip?
Ah, yes.
It's unfortunate the black tide destroyed every last inch of my calendar.
How could that be? Even a creation of Georios from their prized old...
Hey, Circes.
Nias? No, not that I remember.
I just saw him. Nias. A warrior-like figure who was just...
No, I have no...
This is a departed spirit. Go melt it down.
Enough about me. Did Kaos ever reply to you?
Well...
Seems like the price of becoming a demigod is a lot.
Kaos. I've never heard of this person. Which type? Titans.
Look on the bright side, Nias. Since we've come all this way, I doubt...
Let's just hope we mean as much as the world to him.
Hey! Are you seeing that same...
Yes, it's still you and Nias, but you're now talking about a certain Chaos. I'm getting...
Chaos? This...
Never mind. I think I know what this is about. If things are the souls of people...
What? But... if those are the...
Beats me. For all I know, you're just an illusion I conjured up in my... Let's just keep going. As long as I take in more sights.
Know your limits. Wander too far among the dead, and even I...
Fine. If this is indeed as I thought, then this will be very amusing. So...
Can you...
Of course. If I knew we had to climb a mountain, I would...
I guess this also counts as one aspect of the world-bearing burden.
Keep your sarcasm to yourself.
I'm not getting anything of...
I would sooner throw myself off this cliff and hit rock bottom. I am Calypso of the eminent Seven Sages, after all.
Calypso? She's one of the Seven Sages. No, she can't be. I would know her name if she really were one of the Seven. Hey, Circes. Does the name Calypso... Doesn't matter. I can do this myself.
Oh, beautiful old world. Where are you now? Oh, legendary era Chrysia. Return to the mortal realm. Splendid gods once walked the paths we walk.
We're here. Finally. So... I don't get to ask the type very well then. Let me uncover the truth. So, I'm back here. I can hear it. I hear it from the depths of the tides. Beyond this time, the...
Since we've come this far, let's just...
Lord Nias and Miss Calypso, are you both here to visit Chaos?
Yes, and we've been waiting for quite...
Regrettably, he hasn't answered us. The worst-case scenario is that he's already been overwhelmed and crushed.
You're overthinking, Lord Nias. I can still sense Chaos, and besides, we both know Chaos' nature. A deliverer like him wouldn't fall...
That reminds me. Why are you making...
Oh, my sister needs more time to make sure the flap...
Such a pity. Both of you have hearts kinder than it...
Everything that I see and hear this time, what may seem like a mundane conversation, is in truth. The conjecture has taken shape and must now be solidified into a theorem. Next, I only need... But no. I will not, because another one of my conjectures, one that I have always dreamed of proving, fusing a mortal soul with that of a Titan to replace said Titan, is not a ludicrous idea.
What are you thinking of? Is that so? You don't look the slightest bit amazed, though. Plus, you seem to be strangely familiar with the city around the Great Events of the past, huh? I was also a child when I looked up at Circes. I stood at this very spot back then, imagining the day when I could... Don't read too much into it. I mean, can mortals
even hope to reach Aquilus' realm? You get what I'm saying, right, Denny? But there will always be people who dream of soaring towards the sky. The Grove, it's just... I never thought Gray would meet with something like that before we set off. There's no in any case, what we're looking for could be anywhere in this enormous grove. Let's split up to cover... Have you forgotten that you're talking to the chief physician of the... Or you could sit back and look. I'm kidding, Danny. Lend me a hand. Pretty...
Expand your thinking. Curiosity, endless freedom. Nothing but a boy. Open sesame. Glimpse into my mouth. Expand your thinking.
The black tide is remarkably quick to detect the light of Amphorius. Anyway, never mind that for now. Here, you might... This is new. I didn't know Professor Anaxa was researching this guy. Might is an understatement. Anaxa has never been one to venerate the gods, nor has he ever found it within himself to put any faith. Yet, it is also this very blasphemer that Circe's favors. Oh, let me have a look. By the looks of them, these scrolls are records of two conversations that took place in the same setting, one after the other. Sure, go ahead. The Grove of Epiphany is home to 7 schools of thought. While all 7 schools are founded on the ideologies of Thalesis, the first scholar, as the sage of the Venerationists,
Euthyphro, if we were to place the 7 sages on the scales of Talanton, nearly everyone in Amphorius has heard the story of the skyship's but that's why it's no use building giant skyfaring ship. Newsporists primarily study the application of alchemy. Everyone considers Anaxa a blasphemer, but that has never stopped him from sharing his ideas, no matter how taboo. Anaxa often says that every fate, perhaps to him, the crash of the skyship carries a different interpretation. The firmament is not impenetrable. On the contrary, it's a shame that the majority of the Grove's research on Aquila was headed by the Venerationists, with sacrificial rituals making up a predominant part of their findings. That's what I'd like to know. What are these experiments he's involved in? I have a bad feeling about this. Could there be more to what happened at the Grove? This is the Library of Philia, a place where the Groves, other than books written by the 7 schools, you can also find philosophical texts. Well, we've had more than our fair share of hilarious episodes over the years. Nice? No need to hold yourself back, Danny. You can just tell it like it is. Whew. You've got me there. Some said you couldn't even find a dictionary in Castrum Creme. There are too many books in the Library of Philia. Flipping through them all will take too long. I can already see what they must have written. Anaxa has no respect for... Why else would they call him the Great Performer? When Anaxa established his school of thought, the first thing he apparently did was read his own... Are the Titans truly an accurate reflection of what humans think gods should be? Worlds created by gods are indubitably... They marched him straight to the seat of judgment before he could finish. Though what he took on in the end was more of a debate than an actual trial. He had to address every one of the scholars' allegations. The first allegation was... Do you agree that since the title... Anaxa would have probably been spared a lot of trouble if he had answered this way. Instead, he quoted past incidents. Needless to say, his critics didn't take kindly to his answer. So you claim to be studying souls, yet you are, in fact, Anaxa always wears an eye patch, never removing it, even when alone. Every being in the world owes their safekeeping to Kifili, and this is even more so for the Chrysos heir. Thankfully, they had no way to prove it. One by one, Anaxa engaged in wars. It was only after a brief silence that he answered. Yes, I'm not sure how that controversy was eventually resolved, but what's for certain, at least, is that Anaxa was allowed to stay in the grove where he continued his research, despite being regarded as a heretic. This stack of complaint letters has reminded me of I'm talking about Anaxa's alchemy. It's a well-kept secret. Even the administrators of the Library affiliate with the Grove in the state